Watch more programs like this on cable and stream with PCN Select. Subscribe at PCNTV.com.
Senator Doug Mastriano, who's running for governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Senator Mastriano was elected in a special election to the Pennsylvania Senate in 2019, and he won re-election in 2020. Senator Mastriano retired as a colonel from the U.S. Army in 2017 after a 30-year career, which includes serving in the 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment, a deployment for Operation Desert Storm, serving the 3rd Infantry Division and U.S. Army Europe, serving with NATO, and 3 deployments to Afghanistan. He completed his military career as a professor at the U.S. Army War College. Senator Mastriano earned a bachelor's degree from Eastern College and 4 master's degrees, 1 from the Joint Intelligence College, 2 from the Air University, and 1 from the U.S. Army War College. He also earned a PhD from the University of New Brunswick. Senator Mastriano lives in central Pennsylvania with his wife, Rebecca, and they have 1 adult son. Please refer to your program for additional biographical information on the senator, and also join me in welcoming him to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Thanks for being here. It's a great day in PA. It's only going to get better with Governor Mastriano at the helm here. As you heard in our bio, that Rebbe and I started off back in the 80s during the Cold War on the Iron Curtain. I was with the 2nd Cavalry Regiment, and I still wear the spurs I was awarded at the end of the Cold War there during our service on the Czechoslovakian East German border. During that time, of course, we saw interesting things. At times I thought World War III was going to break out. Thank God it didn't. But it was in due large part to America's vigilance, offering the longest period of peace the Europeans have experienced since the Roman Empire. And that's something that a lot of Europeans owe their lives to, so much American sacrifice. But on the other side, at the same time that Rebbe and I were living in West Germany during the waning years of the Cold War, didn't feel like it was waning though at the time, Helmut Kohl, the Prime Minister of Germany, decided he was going to sign a deal with the Soviets, Gorbachev, and build an oil pipeline to West Germany. The Reagan administration warned them, admonished them of the dangers of becoming reliant upon Soviet oil and gas. Any trouble from that didn't become manifest until recent years, sadly. I remember in 2018 when President Donald Trump gave a speech at the United Nations warning the Germans of their reliance upon Russian oil and gas, and that the German delegation was laughing and snickering. Now it looks like they might actually have a cold winter in Germany, sadly. Many of our friends, we lived 10 years in Germany. Heartbreaking to see that the economic driver of the European Union might not have enough energy for people to use their showers, they're told, and unplug all their appliances on the 1st of October, near the anniversary of their reunification, by the way, in 1990, ironically. And that's the danger of becoming reliant upon foreign sources of energy. My first war, shortly at the end of the Cold War, that was winding up, was of course in Desert Storm. We deployed about 500,000 Americans to the Middle East to liberate Kuwait, a noble cause and endeavor, which I was proud to do. However, that was mainly because of oil. The oil that was, of course, seized by Saddam Hussein's Iraq and Kuwait, and also threatening oil reserves, making about 1/3 of the oil reserves in the world in eastern Saudi Arabia. The fact that we'd send over our men and women overseas to fight foreign wars over energy that can be and should be and ought to be produced in the United States of America, and especially in Pennsylvania, is unconscionable to me. We're seeing the dangers of empowering foreign powers such as Russia. Germany is very proud that they recently decided to allocate $2 billion to help the Ukrainians in their valiant war against Vladimir Putin, but not telling the dirty secret that they're spending $2 billion a month on Russian oil and gas. Having worked in NATO for many years and having contacts around Europe, especially within the NATO allies, I have already a commitment from some years ago of one major European power wanting to buy LNG off of Pennsylvania, and not off of Russia, and not off of Norway even. They want it from America. We have another one of our allies in Lithuania, a partner of Pennsylvania, that wants to buy it off of our state because of our long-standing military partnership with their nation. In anticipation of receiving Pennsylvania LNG, they recently, a few years back, built a LNG ship called the Independents. I just love that. That's a great Pennsylvania name right there. You know, our founding fathers promised with the Declaration that we all have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That document, of course, was a Declaration of Independence signed right in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. For us to enjoy life and liberty, we need to be able to pursue happiness. And the key to America's future and Pennsylvania's future is found in the energy sector. Right now, we're finding ourselves in an economic decline in Pennsylvania because of overregulation, overtaxation, fees everywhere you look, and also an economic decline in the United States of America. It's time for a change. It's a time for a big change in Pennsylvania. And the key to this, in this keystone state, of course, is unleashing the energy potential that God has blessed our state with, our Commonwealth with, and this will become a blessing to our own people and also to the people of the United States and potentially around the world. I have a vision for Pennsylvania that as your governor here, we're going to strive to become the number one energy producer in the nation. Our goal is to unleash the energy potential so that we'll become less reliant upon foreign energy, and our allies will be less reliant upon foreign energy. And in that way, the world will be more safe and more stable. And young men, as I was many years ago in the Army, and young women also in the military, will be less likely to send off to fight a war over energy. The key is underneath our feet. So on day one of the governor, as governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, when I'm sworn in on 17 January, we're going to be out of the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative once and forever. It'll be over, and we'll codify that into law with the General Assembly. Because we know as an anticipation of entering this carbon tax compact with 11 other states, and the only state to do that without a vote from the General Assembly, by the way, which I say is unconstitutional, it increased energy prices by 40%. It's our estimate in the Senate that it's going to cost the people of Pennsylvania about $2 billion a year more in energy prices. In the midst of historic inflation and energy costs, this is unconscionable. We have people in our state choosing between heating or cooling their homes and putting food on the table, heating and cooling their homes or putting gas in the car or buying medicine. And that choice should never exist in this great state, in this great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And as governor here, I could affect massive change here. We've seen during the COVID shutdown how much good or evil a governor can do with the powers invested in him or her. We see what's going on in Texas. We see Florida. And our prayers right now are with Florida during this awful storm that's going through their state, that they'll be protected and guarded by God. But the way we unleash this potential here is to have a clear plan. And my plan is very clear and specific. You know, I was retired as a colonel with all kinds of credentials and had sweet job opportunities to ride off into the sunset. You know, as General MacArthur would have it, old soldiers never die, they fade away. That worked well in 1952 when that speech was given, but our country is at a flex point. Pennsylvania is at a crossroads between a continuation of Governor Wolf's failed policies under Josh Shapiro or a new birth of freedom and liberty under Doug Mastriano. And the way we achieve that is through economic prosperity in so many areas. The energy sector holds the key to our keystone state and the key to the future of our great country. It's time to remember who we are in this great country here, and our birthright as Pennsylvanians. And so as governor, I'll be rolling back regulations. Many of the 8 years of regulations that Tom Wolf has piled on the energy sector will be rolled back within the first 100 days of my administration. We understand that we're one of the most heavily regulated people in the nation, 153,000 state regulations, weighing down upon every citizen, every business, every energy infrastructure we have in place. First 100 days, we're going to go underneath 100,000 regulations, from 153,000 to underneath 100,000. That will mean Pennsylvania is open for business at last, and we will empower you, the people, we the people of Pennsylvania, rather than the bureaucrats. Yep. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Another one, all these departments that we have, the governor has 80,000 individuals working for him in this case, and those bureaucrats need to remember they work for the people and not the other way around. The goal of the Mastriano administration is to get the government off your backs and out of your wallets. We'll be looking for initiatives to drive down taxation. I have my eye on property taxes, which affect so many lives here and so many homes and so many elderly losing their homes by paying what I call rent to the government on property in a house they already own. This is unconscionable and immoral. It's time that Pennsylvania leads the way in liberty and freedom once again. And I know our allies over in Europe are looking to us at this point here. We have the potential we have the potential and the capability to reduce the threat that Vladimir Putin is waging right now in his war against Ukraine by bringing relief to our friends in Germany and Poland and the Baltic nations to want to be free people and not be underneath the threat of having their energy sources being shut off by the Russians on a whim. It's unconscionable to me that so much wealth and money and resources have gone into making people like Vladimir Putin or the Iranians or Venezuelans wealthy. It's time for a change and some common sense here. My vision for Pennsylvania, of course, is 2 modernized liquefied natural gas terminals leading out of our state. We're going to have one under Governor Mastriano, and I know this will take some time, but we're going to make it happen working together with the energy sector. We're going to have a modernized liquefied natural gas terminal off of Philadelphia. Our goal is to become a global exporter, and once again, as you already heard, the energy capital of the nation, and I'd love to see that us as the energy capital of the world. It's a lofty goal. We can do it because we're Pennsylvanians. We're the place where the nation was birthed in 1776. So we have a great birthright and legacy before us. And then a second terminal right outside of this city here, Erie. We're going to put an LNG terminal here. It'll take a bit of work and infrastructure. We'll get it done. The inspiration for these goals here, of course, was in 2018. We watched that cold snap we had. And there was a lot of snow up here in Erie that year. I was complaining down in the southern part of the state. Got nothing to whine about compared to here. But the great state of Massachusetts, Boston is running out of energy, and instead of buying what they needed off of Pennsylvania, they brought in 2 ships 4,000 miles away from Russia. Are you kidding me? That's not even green. I mean, why would you do that? It's at the doorstep. And so we'll have LNG terminals here at Erie bringing in thousands of jobs and money and wealth and prosperity and opportunity. This is going to be a state now where the population won't grow older and grayer, but it's going to be a place where there's going to be a renaissance of jobs. Young people, our kids and grandkids will want to stay here because they'll have opportunities, nice 6-figure jobs that only the energy sector can provide, and then all the jobs that come with it supporting the energy sector. It's really not that hard to figure out, and we can make it happen with a leader such as myself. So Pennsylvania, we are the seed of the nation, founded by William Penn in 1682, and that seed was brought forth from this ground in 1776 where the light of liberty was lit, right in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And of course, the struggle for freedom, of course, is difficult. Benjamin Franklin admonished us in 1787 during the Constitutional Convention in Pennsylvania that we have a republic if we can keep it. Abraham Lincoln echoed those words 77 years later in 1863 in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, where he reminded us, of course, 77 years ago, 1776, our fathers founded this nation. He goes on to honor those who gave the last full measure of devotion, but then Lincoln pivots, and he goes, rather, it is for us, the living, in this room right here, to be dedicated to the unfinished work. Our task is not done. It's time that Pennsylvania becomes the shining city on the hill once again. It's our day, it's our hour here to fight for a new birth of freedom, for economic prosperity, and a renewal of the freedom that our fathers and our mothers fought for. This capability, this is in our hands. That's why this gubernatorial race is so important. So I look forward to working together with you in the energy sector here and leading the way in Pennsylvania and breaking us out of this recession and helping a new light of freedom to shine forth across this nation and around this world. Thank you, guys, and God bless you.